The European Parliament has adopted its own position regarding the directive on the right to repair. In the following, I would like to introduce you to the core ideas that the European Parliament has added to the Commission proposal and which is going to be the guidance for our negotiation with Council and the Commission in the so-called trilogue. Let's first put the right to repair in its bigger context. It is part of the so-called Green Deal. We have around about 35 million tons of trash that is produced by the very fact that although a product could still function, we do not repair it, but throw it into the bin. This is against the sustainability, and consumers have shown themselves interested in actually supporting more repair instead of simply buying a new product. In this context, we need to change the paradigm that is currently existing in our economy. Because what is happening? Now, if a consumer actually wants to repair within the first 2 years, or better said, within the minimum guarantee period, they turn towards the seller and request a repair. The seller, however, will say, look, I have no capacities to repair, I don't even have an own repair network, but what I do have is a lot of new products on stock here directly in my house. So you can have a new product immediately and you leave with it, or you have to wait until repair is done. Hence, consumers, mostly even anticipating that kind of reaction, choose for a new replacement product instead for repair. And after the expiry of the minimum guarantee period, without any commercial guarantee being in play, manufacturers will tell consumers, I do not repair because I'm not obliged to it. All these are the parameters that stand in the way of creating a real circular economy in which repair is core. So therefore, what has to be changed? Now, the European Commission started with the idea of introducing a so-called hierarchy of remedies, meaning once you are within the minimum guarantee period, a seller must repair a product that is defectious and is only not obliged to do so if the costs for a new product are less than repair. Parliament has introduced the criterion of the significant inconvenience for the consumer. What is meant by this? There are times and there are product categories in which it is not to the benefit of the consumer that he or she is actually forced to take a repair. An example. A young mother is in high need of a milk pump. And such a milk pump or breast pump is very much needed immediately. Although it might be cheaper to repair this pump, it will still take 1 or 2 days. Here it would be a significant inconvenience for the young mother to have to wait 1 or 2 days until the product is repaired. Hence the request for a replacement product that is more adapted to the needs of the young mother. In that sense, we have re-established the rights of the consumer, although we have kept the hierarchy of remedies in place. It nevertheless shows what actually matters is to introduce more incentive for consumers to actually choose for repair. And what are these incentives? The Commission hasn't provided for any incentives. We have now introduced that a repaired good should get an additional 1-year guarantee period after the repair. Moreover, there are times in which you need a product during repair. If the repair is unreasonably long, the seller has to provide for a replacement product for the remaining time of the repair. Finally, it is the producer who actually has the network and the knowledge about how to repair, not the seller. The consumer should, in case he or she chooses for repair, now turn to the producer in order to ask the producer to actually repair the product. And if the producer does so, he's actually discharging the seller from his liability towards the consumer to actually remedy the malfunction of a product. There's no own new legal relationship created between the consumer and the manufacturer. The seller remains the sole person that is responsible for the conformity of a product, but the consumer gets a second person that can actually exercise repair. Now, this is the set of measures we have within the minimum guarantee period. There is, however, repair needed after the expiry of the minimum guarantee period. So the 2 years as is currently foreseen by the sales of goods, 3 years in other member states. In such a situation, the right to repair becomes an obligation for the manufacturer to do so. This is, however, limited to certain product categories where repairability requirements are predefined by eco-design regulation. Whilst in principle Parliament followed the logic of the European Commission that there should only be a right to repair where repairability requirements are foreseen by law, we said an individual right cannot depend on this kind of rules. And why is this the case? Eco-design rules that request from designers how they have to make a product that it is repairable is remedying a market failure, because market was obviously not able to produce this kind of products that are actually needed for a sustainable circular economy. In such a situation, a regulator has to force these producers to do differently. It's not on the consumers to do so. An individual right on the consumers cannot depend on whether there is market failure or not, but it should be there and should be accepted by the manufacturer. That is the reason why we have included bicycles into the annex. There is no eco-design rules on bicycles. Surprisingly, there are products who are repairable without legal requirements of repair anywhere in the European Union law. Moreover, bicycle is the poster child market where repair is actually working. Consumers choose for repair, there's a good repair network and enough spare parts are available. So here, bicycles are actually confirming what the right to repair wants to achieve in other product categories. Besides this, repair must also here have similar incentives as we have them for a repair within the minimum guarantee period. Although now repair is not competing against a replacement product free of any costs, but here it's now competing with cheap products that we actually do not want to have in a circular economy. And in these situations, incentives are similar. There should also be, as Parliament requested, an additional 1-year guarantee period for the repaired good. If repair is taking too long, there should also be a replacement product during the times of repair. Now, however, if chosen by the manufacturer, against a price. Spare parts must be available for all these products so that repair can actually be exercised, and that at a reasonable and non-discriminatory price. And that leads me to the third element of the European Parliament's proposal. For a right to repair to work, we need a strong independent repair market. Because ultimately, after the expiry of the minimum guarantee period, you do not want to send your product away somewhere in the world and have it returned after a couple of weeks, but you want to have a repairer around the corner. Now, we want to strengthen independent repairers in that regard. The biggest problem for independent repairers is, however, cost of spare part. I have heard stories about a mirror of a car that costs 800 euros, which cannot be explained by any market logic, and hence there's something we have to do about. Therefore, even outside of the scope of this particular annex, manufacturers are prohibited from impeding the repair of their products by contractual means, hardware or software means. Moreover, if an independent repairer has exercised a repair outside of the repair network of the manufacturer shall have no right to rebut a potential follow-up repair. Independent repairers also need to provide repair at low cost. Next to spare parts, there should be no additional bureaucratic costs. The European Commission wanted to introduce a mandatory repair information form. On this particular form, a couple of information should have been provided in case a repairer wanted to provide the service of repair. This would have created additional costs unnecessary to consumers. We therefore transformed the mandatory character into a voluntary one, so that it's on the repairer if they want to choose to make use of this form or not. We do not want to have additional bureaucratic burdens if we want to activate all forces that we have on the market to promote repair. Finally, there is a group of people who actually do not choose between repair and a new cheap product, but whose choice is between repair and no product at all, since also a new product would be way too expensive. These people should be supported by financial incentives by all member states. We currently see this in Austria, France and in the German land of Thüringen and Saxonia. But this is an obligation that should be on all member states, that there should be incentives in terms of repair vouchers or other elements member states' creativity may come up to support those who actually cannot even afford repair, to make repair strong and to promote the right to repair amongst our citizens. All these measures together will boost the right to repair to what it is. It will bring us to a shift of paradigm in our market economy that turns from a fast product culture to a repair culture, and by that protects the environment and saves consumers money.